The left-wing lunatics in Canada's halls of power are flipping out. They're doing everything they possibly can to stop this. They're calling it fringe. They're calling it treasonous. They're calling it a dangerous fantasy cooked up by MAGA extremists. But here's what they're not telling you. The signatures are in. The threshold has been crossed. A referendum is coming. Alberta didn't do this to Ottawa. Ottawa did this to Alberta. Stick with the very end of this video because I'm going to lay out exactly why the Alberta independence movement is the most consequential political story in the Western world right now, and why what you're watching is not a fringe revolt. It's a civilizational reckoning that could redraw the map of North America permanently. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you make sense of the madness with breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. So you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. So right now, on the side of a busy Alberta highway, something extraordinary is happening. Ordinary Albertans, as farmers, oil workers, parents, business owners, are stopping their trucks and they're signing a petition. Not just any petition. A petition to trigger a province-wide vote to separate Alberta from Canada and declare it a sovereign, independent nation. And they've done it. The Alberta Prosperity Project, the grassroots group spearheading the secessionist movement, has confirmed that they have crossed the near 178,000 signatures required under Alberta's Citizens Initiative Act to trigger a referendum. In fact, they're not stopping there. APP CEO Mitch Sylvester says they'll keep collecting signatures all throughout April, and he put it in the most Albertan terms possible. We need to make this too big to rig. They're taking a lesson from Trump November 2024. If Elections Alberta verifies those signatures, every eligible Albertan will vote this October on this question. Do you agree that the province of Alberta should cease to be part of Canada to become an independent state? And so, as we speak, that vote is coming, and it will be the second official referendum to break up Canada in a generation, the last one being Quebec's separatist referendum back in October of 1995. Now, the polls are showing a surge in support for Albertan independence. Polara, which has been tracking Alberta separatism for over half a decade, confirmed last week that support just hit its highest point on record. In terms of a definite vote to leave, about 1 in 3 Albertans are all in. If you add in the 1 in 5 Albertans who say they might vote yes just to send a message to Ottawa, you're looking at potentially over 40% of the province saying enough. Enough is enough. Now, when we compare these polls to the polls that were conducted around the same time leading up to the Quebec referendum, Alberta is almost exactly where Quebec was. Polls around this time found Quebec sovereignty support hovering around 40%. But what's so key here is that support for independence surged dramatically during the campaign for the referendum that was launched later that year. And the end result was that the yes vote, the vote to leave Canada, landed at 49.42% on referendum night. 49.42%. The yes vote lost by just 54,000 votes out of nearly 5 million cast. So Alberta today sits at about 30 to 40% support across multiple pollsters. And so what that means is that Alberta today is where Quebec was before the campaign momentum built. So the fundamental question is whether referendum organizers for Alberta can replicate the same kind of surge that came within a hair of passing the Quebec referendum. Jeffrey Roth with the Alberta Prosperity Project is giving us a glimpse of what that campaign momentum will be built on. He's saying it very simply. Canada needs Alberta a lot more than Alberta needs Canada. Canada needs Alberta. Alberta does not need Canada. We can exist quite happily without the Confederation, much happier without Canada. Canada simply cannot exist very happily without Alberta. So there's this radical asymmetry that's going on here. And he's not wrong. Here's a stat that'll absolutely blow your minds. Alberta has the third largest oil resource on the entire planet. 3 times more barrels of oil per capita than Saudi Arabia. The day Alberta declares independence, it would immediately become one of the highest GDP per capita nations on earth. And despite that, Ottawa has canceled all kinds of pipeline projects, all in the name of going full Greta on the environment. They've canceled the Keystone Pipeline. They've canceled the Energy East pipeline, which would carry Alberta crude to Atlantic refineries. They've canceled the Northern Gateway pipeline, which would have created a Pacific route to Asia. Ottawa slapped carbon taxes in Alberta's energy sector, all the while cheering Quebec's green virtue. Ottawa blocks the very infrastructure Alberta needs to get its oil to global markets, keeping Albertans landlocked. And then they lectures them about being good Canadians. And to add insult to injury, Alberta has not received a single equalization payment from the federal government since the 1960s. Equalization payments are basically subsidies that are given to the other provinces from the federal government so that everyone can offer the same welfare benefits as any other province. Alberta is the piggy bank for equalization payments. Albertans contribute $15 to $27 billion per year net to Ottawa's equalization program. Over the lifetime of that arrangement, Alberta has transferred a net $650 billion to the federal government. That's not a partnership, that's a shakedown. And they don't get a dime in return. So it's not just Albertans that are fed up. Elon Musk, he appears to be joining the cause. Have you seen this? An Alberta independence supporter named David Parker tweeted out, quote, "Alberta independence is the only way we save what's left of it." And Musk responded with a single word. Yeah. well, that one yeah is the yeah heard around the world. It set off a firestorm. Independent supporters celebrated as a landmark international endorsement from the world's richest man and the owner of the platform itself. The story went viral across social media within literally minutes. Now, obviously, it was just a simple yeah, a simple one-word affirmation, but the symbolic weight was undeniable. Musk owns the platform on which the exchange happened, and it's rare for him to reply directly to any individual post, let alone affirm a call for independence. And as it turns out, Alberta isn't alone. It looks like another province, one that came within half a point, literally tenths of a point of leaving Canada. It's back. It's back with a vengeance. Wait until you see this. But first, gang, let me ask you, what do you think you can do if you had the same insider trading information that Nancy Pelosi has, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Politicians like Pelosi have had access to insider trading secrets for decades now. They know exactly what stocks to buy and when to buy them. But guess what? You and I actually have access to that very same inside information. Thanks to a little-known SEC database, we can see what and when corporate CEOs are buying up in real time, and then we get to piggyback on their trades to gain the same advantage for ourselves. So, gang, that's why you've got to click on the link below and sign up for a free training with me and my good friend Ross Givens. It's this Thursday, April 16th at 3 p.m. Eastern. Ross is an insider trading expert whose recommendations have led to investment returns of over 200%. Some of them hit as high as nearly 1,500%. It's going to be absolutely amazing free training where you and I can learn how to trade with the exact same insider knowledge as these politicians, but we're going to do it legally and ethically. But don't wait. Seating registration is limited, so click on that link below right now and register today for an event that promises to change your life. There is a second secessionist fire burning in Canada right now, and it's lining up among the last people Ottawa expected, the youth of Quebec. For 30 years, the Quebec sovereignty movement has been the story of the old guard, the generation that lived through the 1980 and the 95 referendums. The separatism of René Lévesque and Jacques Parizeau, the 1995 vote that came within a half a percentage point of breaking up Canada. And for a long time, the conventional wisdom was that separatism was dying with that generation. Quebec's young people were post-nationalists. They were digitally cosmopolitan. They were indifferent to the sovereignty question. That conventional wisdom is now shattered. A Ledger poll from June of last year found that almost half, 48% of Quebecers aged 18 to 34 support provincial independence. It represents a near 20% increase in just a year. And then just 2 months ago, a crop survey found that the number was even higher. 56% of 18 to 34-year-old Quebecers are now supporting sovereignty. You heard that right, 56%, nearly 6 in 10. And the Bloc Québécois, their governing political party, noted something remarkable. It's the first time they've ever measured this type of movement where younger people are more favorable towards independence than older people. The torch has been passed not away from separatism, but actually towards it. A whole new generation has picked it up. Young Quebecers are rediscovering their distinct cultural identity and concluding that Ottawa doesn't speak for them any more than it speaks for Alberta. Two very different provinces, two very different cultures, and yet one shared conclusion. Ottawa is the problem, and the political engine is already firing. The Parti Québécois, the PQ, they've now won 4 consecutive by-elections, pulling seats directly from the ruling Coalition Avenir Québec. The PQ is leading in provincial polls with roughly 30% of voting intentions, and they've made a crystal clear promise. If they win the October 2026 provincial election, they will hold a third sovereignty referendum by 2030. So this is what's making this upcoming October so momentous in Canada. You could be seeing 2 major events happen. You could be seeing a PQ majority government in Quebec and an Alberta independence referendum in October of this year. Gang, the Canada that Justin Trudeau handed to Mark Carney is coming apart at the seams. What you're watching in Canada is not 2 regional spats. It's the unraveling of a managed federation that was always held together less by genuine unity than by financial dependency and cultural coercion. Alberta was kept quiet with the understanding that its oil money would keep flowing east. Quebec was kept federalist with the fear that independence was economically risky. But Ottawa's energy hostility blew up the fiscal compact, and Quebec's unique culture and identity continues to navigate away from the Confederation, even among its youngest voters. The glue is gone. 2 fires, 2 provinces, 1 collapsing center. And a prime minister in Ottawa, a former Goldman Sachs banker and Bank of Canada governor, who has no idea how to speak to the millions of Albertans who feel colonized in their own country, or to the young Quebecers who've decided that they're done asking Ottawa's permission to be who they are. History is not a slow river right now. It's a rapid. And Canada is right in the middle of it. Ever wonder what I really think off camera? That's Turley Walks. It's exclusive to the members of the Courageous Patriots Club, but 1 free episode is unlocked for you right now. Scan the QR code and watch today.